This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to ER Vet on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Justine Lee, and I'm a board-certified emergency critical care specialist and toxicologist. Today, we're going to be talking about how to be prepared for disaster with your pet. We'll be right back after these messages.
Listeners, I'd love to introduce you to PetPlate.com. They deliver freshly cooked human-grade dog food right to your door. I've been feeding PetPlate to my pup for the last 2 weeks, and it's perfect for my picky pup and perfect for me since I'm so busy. So if you want something super healthy, really tasty, and ready to serve, go to petplate.com/spot to get 30% off your first box. PetPlate.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to ER Vet on Pet Life Radio. Today, we're going to be talking about a pretty serious topic, disaster medicine. What does that mean? Well, we have a lot of disasters going on right now. It's hurricane season, there's a ton of California wildfires and mudslides, and we never think that we're going to be affected by a disaster until we are. So what I wanted to talk about are some good ways of being able to prepare just in case you're affected by this emergency. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a good first aid kit. You could just buy a first aid kit that's designed for a human, but there's a couple extra things that I want you to add in there. Now, when it comes to buying a first aid kit, you want to make sure that it has some type of protective glove. So either latex or non-latex gloves, ideally non-latex, just in case someone has an allergy. Different types of gauze rolls in case there's a wound, elastic cling bandage, material to make a splint, and this could be something as simple as a wooden stick to a rolled up piece of newspaper, so you can be pretty creative when it comes to making a splint. Adhesive tape. You also want to make sure to have some sterile pads that are what we call non-adherent, so they don't stick to the wound. You want to make sure to have tweezers, potentially a magnifying glass, small scissors, a bandage scissors, either grooming clippers or a safety razor, a muzzle, and you're probably thinking, my dog never bites. But if you have an emergency and your dog was traumatized, like hit by a car, if they're really painful, they may bite. So it's always for protection that we have a muzzle in there. Some type of sterile lubricant that's water-based, a small container that's not opened of 3% hydrogen peroxide. This is a type of peroxide we're going to use to clean a wound or to induce vomiting, which we'll talk about later. Topical antibiotic ointment, rubbing alcohol wipes, cotton-tipped swabs, tongue depressors, sterile saline wash, and that's designed to flush out a wound or even flush out the eye. Sterile eye lubricant, and this is oftentimes called sterile ophthalmic ointment, and this is totally over the counter at your local CVS or Walgreens. Some Epsom salts, an instant cold pack that becomes cold once you crack the pack open, an eyedropper or a baby dose syringe, in other words, an oral syringe, antiseptic towelettes, a small towel, a nylon leash, petroleum jelly, a pen light that's working, in other words, it has active batteries in it, and potentially hemostats or needle nose pliers. Now, I know it sounds like a lot, but I promise you that this first aid kit will really help you out in the case of an emergency. The one other thing I might add, and it sounds kind of weird, is a pillowcase. And you're probably thinking, why would I need a pillowcase? The main reason why is because if you come upon an injured cat, you may not have a cardboard cat carrier. And oftentimes, a pillowcase is a really safe, fast way of being able to provide some type of immediate housing. And it's really lightweight too. Now, there are a couple other things I want you to do. I want you to also have some unopened dog treats or cat treats, a few unopened bottles of water, pop-top cans of your pet's favorite canned food. If you can't find that kind, make sure you pack a can opener, a few plastic or stainless steel water bowls, a few extra days of your pet's medication in a well-labeled prescription vial, and a travel-sized bottle of liquid dish soap, something you use to wash dishes, like Dawn. You're probably wondering why you need this, but it's to safely wash off any kind of dangerous chemicals or poisons off the fur. I also like to have a few plastic poop bags in there, and most importantly, a copy of your pet's medical record. This just could be a copy of the vaccine history, but I want to have this information readily available so you know your veterinarian's contact information, what milligram strength your pet's medications may be, and it's helpful to have a picture of your pet on it also, just in case your pet is lost. We'd like to thank our sponsor for today's episode, Pretty Litter. A bag of Pretty Litter weighs 4 pounds, and it's really lightweight. Most litter weighs between 20 to 40 pounds. It's also long-lasting. One bag of Pretty Litter lasts an entire month for one cat. It's also got built-in health monitoring. It keeps tabs on your cat's health by changing color if it detects potential health issues. For example, Pretty Litter may turn green or blue if it notices a high urinary pH, which can lead to bladder crystals and stone formation. If Pretty Litter turns purple or red, it may indicate that there's blood in there, and this can oftentimes be a sign of bladder stones, crystals, bladder inflammation, or even a urinary tract infection. If you notice an unusual color, when in doubt, consult with your veterinarian to find out what's going on. We'll want to get a sterile urine sample, but it could be a helpful indicator by keeping tab on your cat's health. Pretty Litter also has microcrystals that absorb the urine and odor, so it's got amazing odor control. Also, it's easy maintenance. All you have to do is scoop the poop. No more clumping. Pretty Litter is delivered straight to your door every month with free shipping, so it's hassle-free and convenient. Go to prettylittercats.com/ERVET and use the promo code ERVET for 20% off your first subscription order. We'll continue with this really important topic right after these messages from our sponsors.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to ER Vet. Today, we're talking about disaster preparation for your pet. We've already talked about some essential things you need in a first aid kit. And again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Go out and buy a good human first aid kit. But again, there's a few extra pet-friendly things you want to add in there, like dog or cat bowls, a leash, a pillowcase, that bottle of hydrogen peroxide, if in the event we need to induce vomiting in your dog, a can of tuna in water, because if your cat eats something that's corrosive, we want to flush that corrosive fluid out of the mouth by giving them something tasty to eat. I also recommend making sure to pre-program your cell phone with all the important phone numbers. This is going to include your veterinarian, the closest ER vet, a local humane society or animal control, the ASPCA Animal Poison Control Center, just in case your pet is poisoned, at 888-426-4435, and the nearest veterinary specialty clinic in case of emergency referral. I also recommend that you print all this information out and put it in your first aid kit, because in a disaster, the cell towers may go down. You should also make sure to pre-program your GPS with the addresses of all these locations so you can drive there in case of an emergency. The most important part of staying up to date on preventative care is to make sure to keep your pet healthy and well protected. What do I mean by this? Well, during Hurricane Katrina, a lot of dogs and cats ended up being exposed to infectious diseases like fleas and ticks. heartworm disease, or other infections like parvovirus, dog flu, upper respiratory infections, or even kennel cough. And this was because of stressful situations where they may have been immunosuppressed. And it was also compounded by temporary shelter situations where all these pets were exposed to hundreds and hundreds of other pets that could increase the risk of spread of infection. For that reason, you always want to make sure that your pet's up to date on vaccines and current on heartworm and flea and tick control. So, not only do you want to make sure that you have a good first aid kit prepared for you and your pet, you also want to make sure that your pet is up to date on preventative health care. The third important factor is identification. Collars and tags can be accidentally ripped off or lost, so that's why it's so important that your dog and cat be microchipped. My cat is microchipped and my cat lives indoors, but you never know when there's going to be a disaster, and even indoor cats can escape outside accidentally. So make sure your pet is microchipped, wearing a collar and a tag with your updated information. And these are the best steps you can take to ensure that you'll be reunited with your dog or cat during a disaster. This was instrumental during Hurricane Katrina and really helped unite hundreds to thousands of pet owners with their pets. Remember, nobody expects an emergency or a disaster to occur. We don't want that to happen. We don't want to be affected by it. But with all the natural disasters going on, we want to make sure that we're safe and that our pets, who are our four-legged family members, are also safe. Take the time to prepare in case of an emergency. No one is often prepared, and it only takes 1 hour at a local grocery store or a local pharmacy store to make sure that you have all the supplies that you need in case of an emergency. I promise you, you won't regret it during a true emergency. Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. Find me at Dr. Justine Lee, on Facebook at Dr. Justine Lee, or email me your pet questions or comments at drjustinelee@petliferadio.com. With that, we're out of time, and we'd like to thank our producer, Mark Winter, for making this show possible. Keep your pets safe, and we'll see you at the next episode.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.